Well, it is a public apology made to the president. That is the head of state. How crucial will it be ahead of the impeachment debate set to be tackled by legislators on the floor of the August House on Tuesday, where the second in command will be accorded at least 2 hours from 5 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. to defend himself against the several charges leveled against him by the Kibwezi lawmaker, that is Mwengi Mutuse. Those are among the stories we have given focus this evening. But first things first, here are top stories at this hour.
So my brother, President William Ruto, if in our zeal to work, I have wronged you, please find it in your heart to forgive me.
Change of tact. With an impeachment hovering above him, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua apologizes to the president.
A total of 12,704,548 members into the Social Health Authority.
The number of Kenyans registered under the Social Health Authority has risen to 12 million. A close shave. A 2-year infant among 9 people who survived a bus accident at Likoni Ferry Channel.
Now this is me. What do I do now? There's nothing you can change. So the best thing to do is to accept what you cannot change.
And against all odds, a cerebral palsy patient's story of coping with the condition for over 3 decades. Good evening and once more welcome to the broadcast. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. I'm holding down the fort for my colleagues. That is John Jacob Curia as well as Regina Manyara. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Byron Abuli. And we start on that note where Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has apologized to President William Ruto, Parliament and to Kenyans, asking them to forgive him for the wrongs he may have committed while executing his duties. The Deputy President, who held a prayer service at his official residence in Karen, Nairobi County, also asked Kenyans to remain united and peaceful as Parliament considers the impeachment proceedings against him.
With barely 2 days before the National Assembly considers the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the second in command sought divine intervention at the National Prayer Altar in his official residence in Karen, Nairobi. And in an unprecedented move, the Deputy President tendered his apology to President William Ruto, Parliament and to Kenyans for whatever wrongs he or his family may have committed against them.
I want to say to my brother, President William Ruto, if in our zeal to work, I have wronged you, please find it in your heart to forgive me. If my spouse, in our duties for the boy child and our program, has wronged you in any way, find it in your heart to forgive her. To our members of Parliament, if in the course of duty, through our utterances and actions, we have in one way or another upset you, all wronged you, find it in your heart to forgive me.
Gachagua asked Kenyans to remain united and peaceful as Parliament considers his impeachment starting Tuesday.
I want to call upon the people of Kenya to remain peaceful, to love one another. And despite all these happenings, irrespective of the outcome, the people of Kenya must remain peaceful and united and love one another. Specifically, I want to appeal to our brothers and sisters in the Rift Valley, where there are many communities who live there, to leave this contest to lead us.
Asserting that Kenya is founded on the rule of law, Gachagua expressed faith in the judiciary, promoting and protecting the constitution and the will of the people.
I have faith in our courts of law. We have competent men and women in our judiciary who I believe will uphold the Constitution, protect it with their zeal, and always uphold and protect the will of the Kenyan people.
The Deputy President will be granted 2 hours in the National Assembly's plenary on Tuesday to defend himself against the impeachment motion. Gishoke Washira, Sunday Express.
Still with the impeachment motion, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's apology to President William Ruto has been welcomed by the political and religious leaders from across the country. They noted that the differences between the two leaders had politically polarized the country, culminating in an impeachment motion against the second-in-command. The apology, they said, is a good step towards uniting the country. Politicians were, however, cautioned against using the motion to promote divisive politics.
Hivyo ombi ni kwamba tukiwa kama viongozi wa kidini, tukiwa kama viongozi ambao wanaangalia pia maslahi ya wananchi, tukiwa wananchi wazalendo, ni kuwa siasa za kugawanya wananchi zisiweko kwa sasa, bali maendeleo ndio tunahitaji kwa sasa.
Wewe ni chairman, unachea hiyo mikakati kwa cabinet. Alafu kule nje unaenda unapinga serikali, tena unapiga vita. Rais William Samoei Ruto na aongoze taifa letu la Kenya na alete jamii zote kutoka kwa milima, kutoka Nyanza, kutoka Western, Rift Valley, Coast mpaka kule Eastern na Northeastern, waende pamoja ili tukue na amani Kenya.
Watengeneze, wasuluhishe ili tuwe na amani, kwa sababu unajua wanapoendelea kudumbana maendeleo hayapo. Sasa wanachukua muda mwingi kudumbana. Hata public participation hii ambayo yaambiwa kwamba kuna public participation, watu wanaulizwa maswali, hata wale wanaoulizwa maswali hawajahamasishwa.
That is what we want. That is what we want. That is what we have been praying for, that they may pray, that they may beg for forgiveness. The spiritual fathers in our society, in our country, who can reconcile you so that our country can be able to go forward. Waambie ni vizuri kuforgive, kwa sababu kama forgiveness, he has sought for forgiveness, they also need to forgive him and let the country, kwa sababu hatutaki buge itushike mahali ambaye Kenya yetu itakaa in stagnation, which is not good.
And of course, the million-dollar question is, how will that public apology be crucial ahead of Tuesday's debate? Talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. Now, over 12 million Kenyans have been registered into the new Social Health Authority, including verified members who are under the defunct National Health Insurance Fund. The authority's chairperson, Abdi Mohammed, says a joint committee chaired by Medical Services Principal Secretary, that is Hari Kimtai, has been formed to verify healthcare providers pending bills under the defunct NHIF. Yusuf Farah with the details.
The government says the shift from NHIF to the Social Health Authority is gaining momentum. The authority on Sunday gave a status update a week after the big rollout.
A total of 12,704,548 members into the Social Health Authority. All registered SHA beneficiaries are entitled to free access to primary health care services under the Primary Health Care Fund at Level 2 dispensaries, 3 health centers, and select Level 4 health facilities. With regard to private and faith-based health facilities, a total of 1,442 health facilities have since returned duly signed contracts.
Abdi Mohammed says those who parted with cash to receive treatment will be compensated after verification.
An example was Amze, who actually cried on the TV. We are refunding the 9,500 that was paid by him to the facility.
All patients who have paid out of pocket reach out to us, and we will do the same for them. all the patients who have paid out of pocket.
Monday's rollout was characterized by various hiccups, among them system challenges, which led to frustration, especially for those who required routine medical assistance.
All our branches and the regional managers and all our staffs, the SHA staff across, have been deployed to all the facilities to make sure that patients get seamless services across all the health facilities.
The team that runs SHA, led by Dr. Abdi here, can only spend 5% of the money we pay on themselves. The other 95 is meant to give us services, and that's a law.
The government says systems have been fixed to ensure seamless claim processing. A committee has also been formed to look into the pending bills incurred during the transition and those owed by the defunct National Health Insurance Fund. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
And now to the Commander-in-Chief. President William Ruto now says religious organizations will not be regulated in the country. Speaking when he attended a church service at the AIC Milimani, the head of state poured cold water on a proposed religious organizations regulation bill that is currently before the Senate, saying the freedom of worship is guaranteed in the Constitution. The president's remarks comes in the wake of increased uproar among clerics rejecting the proposed legislation on regulations of churches.
Disciples had this, they fell face down to the ground.
President William Ruto attended a church service at AIC Milimani in Nairobi, where he assured the men of cloth that the state will not interfere with the freedom of worship.
I know that there are proposals that have been made in some quarters about regulation of the church, regulation of worship, regulation of religious activities. I want to remind those who are pursuing that kind of exercise that the Constitution of Kenya is very explicit on the freedom of worship.
The president dismissed the religious organization bill sponsored by Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana that seeks to regulate religious organizations. The president observed that the faith community will decide on how they want the freedom of worship to be conducted and self-regulate the activities.
Kenya shall continue to be a God-fearing nation, and we will defend the freedom of worship in our republic. We will make sure that we don't compromise, and there will be no limitations or compromise on the freedom of worship in Kenya.
The bill, which seeks to introduce taxes on income, gifts or profits generated from the church, has been termed punitive and lacking stakeholder consultation by the clergy. The bill also proposes a fine of 5 million shillings or 3 years in jail or both for any religious leader who operates an unregistered organization.
Now, I want to ask those who have ideas to allow religious leaders themselves to develop how they want to regulate themselves and how the church, how religious organizations are going to go forward. Because that was the recommendation of the task force I appointed under Reverend Taba Mushimi, that the religious body in Kenya will decide how they want to make sure that the freedom of worship in Kenya is protected.
The president, however, assured faithfuls his government will never put limitations on the freedom of worship. Vishuk Washira, Sunday Express.
And in other news, an infant is still receiving treatment at the Coast General Hospital following the Sunday morning bus accident at the Likoni Ferry crossing channel. Another person was treated and discharged from the hospital after 7 out of the 9 people injured during the accident were attended to at the scene of the accident. Kenya Maritime Authority Acting Director General Julius Koech has assured the ferry users that the ferries are safe and that the morning incident was just an accident. Tilio Marco now reports.
This is the ill-fated bus that overturned on Sunday morning at the Likoni Ferry crossing channel and injured 9 people, among them this infant, who is still receiving treatment at the Coast General Hospital. Eyewitnesses say the accident occurred after the bus, which was coming from Machakos, was obstructed by a handcart fully loaded with the market produce.
Gari liko natoka Matu to Ukunda. So imevuka feri, gari zinatoka kwa feri, mkokoteni liko mbele na magari zingine ndogo ndogo. So ziko kwa mlima, mbele gari hazisongi, gari yetu kwa mlima kurudi chini kwa feri. Safu kulikuwa na mvua, ile gari iliteleza ikarudi.
Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir noted that talks are ongoing with the Ministry of Roads and Transport for the ferries to strictly serve passengers on foot and vehicles to use the Dongo Kundu bypass to curb such accidents.
We have already made that position, but we will need to be able to do that also in consultation with the other stakeholders like the Kenya Ports Authority who are running the ferry.
Meanwhile, Kenya Maritime Authority Acting Director General Julius Koech assured ferry users that the ferries are safe and that the morning incident was just an accident.
We have been working in very close collaboration with Kenya Ports Authority to ensure that the standards are being met, that all deficiencies after inspections are being closed, and the operations of the ferries are safe.
Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
Now, the government has been called upon to subsidize prices of adult diapers and medication used to manage cerebral palsy. Speaking during the commemoration of World Cerebral Palsy Day at Donholm in Nairobi County, Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya chairperson Pinto Otieno noted that drugs are expensive and the burden is even heavier for those who also have to wear diapers for a lifetime.
As the world celebrates Cerebral Palsy Day, appeals have been made to the government to subsidize prices of diapers and medication.
The drugs, convulsions, they are very expensive. They are retailed at a similar price as like another drug. But at the moment we have these children, it means that they rely so much on the drugs.
Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya chairperson Pinto Otieno says that the majority of the caregivers are also the breadwinners of their families.
How do we assist this for? It's only by subsidizing the diapers and the drugs and even giving waivers to the parents. Because when you give the waivers to these children, they are not working.
At the Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya Center in Donholm, majority of the caregivers are single mothers abandoned by their partners.
Babake vile aligundua mtoto ako na hii hali alitoroka na ajai tusaidia hata.
Persons with cerebral palsy still face stigma from society.
Caregiver ni mimi, ndiasha kazi. Njoo sasa mtoto kama usiwezi andikia mtu. Kuandikia mtu atasijui kama angekuwa hai. Mimi ndio nakaa na yeye. Watoto ndio wananunua chakula, wanamnunulia dawa.
In line with this year's theme of a million reasons, every child has a right to enjoy a healthy and quality life, while wishes are being urged to offer financial and humanitarian support. Kasichana Masha, Sunday Express.
And in relation to Kasichana's story, from childhood, Josephine Mwende has deliberately chosen to focus on the positives of our condition to counter the myriad of stigmas associated with it. The 33-year-old who suffers from cerebral palsy disorder is a certified network engineer and a mother of one. As the world marks Cerebral Palsy Day, our reporter Kamche Menza spoke with Josephine, who shared the motivation of her strength and the resilience that has seen her beat the odds.
Something is to know who you are, what you want in life, and to accept you are different, you are unique.
This is the mantra that Josephine Mwende, who has cerebral palsy, has held on to for the last 33 years. The condition was caused by prolonged labor, but therapy sessions assisted her muscle movement. Josephine says she had a normal childhood, but one experience in school is unforgettable.
So wakati alikuwa anatuambia tuchore chini, mimi nikijaribu kufanya kama wenzangu naona siwezi. Nikijaribu kuchora kama wao mimi nashindwa kabisa.
Na mkono ama na mguu?
Mkono. Nikaona huko ni kama kuna some challenges.
She was transferred to a special school.
Tulipatana na watu wengi kutoka different backgrounds, wako na different disability types. So kutoka hapo nikakuja nikaona kumbe siko peke yangu, tuko wengi wenyewe wako na tofauti pia. Mimi kutoka hapo nikajikubali. And I have to be me. I have to cope with how I am.
College for the firstborn in a family of 4 was not easy, as the institutions do not cater for learners with special needs. Josephine is now a certified network engineer and has worked for 3 companies.
The first contract I got was with the Ministry of Social Protection as a data entry clerk. I was given some cushions where I used to put my keyboard and step from there. I also have been with Safaricom for 7 months as an intern. They also accommodated me so very well. And again, I've also worked with another NGO, like the assistant finance. Hello. How are you?
Her most painful memory, however, was at a hospital during her pregnancy.
I went to 3 different hospitals before I was finally accepted to Kenya International Hospital, because the first 2 hospitals I went, the second one I went to, we found this female nurse. When she just saw me, she didn't even let me. She just came direct and said, "We don't handle such a people."
Through a strong support system, the mother of 1 has learned to use her legs to do everyday chores, from laundry, dressing, to operating a laptop.
I don't focus on the negativity, because we might be somewhere or maybe passing somewhere and somebody might comment, "Look at that lady. She's so beautiful, but Sakona disability." I will take the first part. She's beautiful.
Josephine currently runs an online campaign on advocacy with the support of Nguvu Collective organization, which aims at raising the voices of the unheard.
She's trying to advocate for hotlines in hospitals where women with disabilities can call whenever they're discriminated against or experience any form of mistreatment or abuse, as well as the demand for, specialized examination in consultancy rooms for people with disabilities.
I can say I really inspire lots of people, even they reach to me, most of those parents with children with cerebral palsy. They always tell me that we are looking up to you and we wish that one day our children will be like you.
According to the Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya, more support is needed for those living with disability. Global statistics show 18 million people have cerebral palsy. In Kenya, it is estimated that 1 in every 100 children live with the condition. Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
Quite remarkable. Kamche Menza, thank you for that report. And of course, this evening we'll be focusing on the prioritization of eye health in children. You do know that the 10th of October this month, the country will be focusing on Mazingira Day, but it is also World Sight Day. We'll be talking to optometrists to tell us what is the situation like in that particular sector and why the focus on children. We're taking our first commercial break here on Sunday Express. Don't go too far.
The Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, in conjunction with the United Nations Habitat, welcomes you to this year's National Observance of World Habitat Day under the theme, Engaging the Youth to Create a Better Urban Future, to be held at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Sports Complex, Kisumu, on Monday the 7th of October 2024. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Alice Wahome will grace the event, hosted by Kisumu Governor His Excellency Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. Join us as we celebrate the contributions of youth to sustainable urbanization while addressing the challenges of rapid urban growth.
Avieta imerahisishwa. Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza Avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Welcome to the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, or KDIC, a state corporation established under the KDI Act Cap 487C. But who exactly are we? KDIC provides a deposit insurance for customers of member institutions. This means we protect your hard-earned money deposited in banks, giving you peace of mind knowing that your savings are safe. KDIC is also mandated to receive, liquidate, and wind up troubled banks, as well as provide incentives for sound risk management. We are here to protect your bank deposit and, together with other safety net players, ensure a stable financial system. KDIC, safer, stronger, together.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You can talk to us on our social media platforms at Abdiaziz Hashim 1 as well as at KBC Channel 1 on the various news items we've shared with you. And in regards to the interview that will be coming up a little bit later on the prioritization of health in children. And of course, we'll be joined by an optometrist who is coming from, he's the president of the Optometrist Association of Kenya a little bit later on to tell us why the focus has shifted to young ones. Talk to us on our social media platforms and of course, we'll be sampling some of your thoughts a little bit later on. Now we continue with other stories making headlines at this hour. Tana River County leaders are calling on communities to stop turning on each other after ethnic clashes broke out in Bengali, leaving 8 people dead. Led by the Principal Secretary for Cabinet Affairs, Idris Dokota, and a former Tana River Governor, Hussein Dado, the leaders said it was wrong for communities that have coexisted peacefully all along to kill each other.
Negative ethnicity has left a trail of death and agony in parts of Tana River County. Tension remains high in the region even as leaders appeal for calm.
Wa hapa Tana River, jamii mbili zinazozozana saa hii, tafadhalini msimamishe hiyo maneno katika dini yetu, manake wengi wenu ni wa dini moja.
The leaders emphasize the need for communities to coexist peacefully with each other for positive development.
Katika zile tarbia za muumini niwe ni mtu mwenye kupenda amani. Kwa hivyo jamii zetu za Tana River tunazihusia kwamba tukae kwa upendo na sote ni ndugu.
Speaking during Maulid celebration, the leaders highlighted the plans of the government to ensure peace and tranquility across the nation.
Tuombeni nchi yetu, kuna matatizo kidogo, ili Mwenyezi Mungu asaidie viongozi wetu, amsaidie rais wetu ili nchi itulie.
Tension remains high in Bengali sub-county Tana River County following the death of 8 people Friday evening over inter-community clashes.
Risasi ya kwanza imempata huyu ndugu yangu mkono, ikamwangusha. Nikimwendea karibu yake ndio zinamiminwa kwetu.
The clashes, which happened separately at KBC grounds, Charidende, Nanigi and Anole in Bengali, also left at least 20 houses torched in Bulavago and KBC grounds. County Police Commander William Sadiq confirmed the incident, saying they have begun a disarmament exercise in the area. Martini Maslin for Sunday Express.
Let's take a look at what is happening in other devolved units now. Students pursuing engineering at the Chemasire Technical Training Institute in Busia County have benefited from a donation of equipment from the Ministry of Education. Details of this and other stories making headlines within the devolved unit is in our county's news roundup.
Speaking at the institution after receiving the equipment, Teso North Member of Parliament Oku Kaunya applauded the move as a major milestone in achieving skilled labour in line with Vision 2030.
With this equipment, the students around will be more empowered to be able to work for Kenya.
University and college student leaders have launched a civic education initiative aimed at educating their peers on key issues affecting them. This is after realizing a huge knowledge gap among the youth on issues such as the Social Health Insurance Fund and the university funding model.
We are doing civic education, ndio maana tuweze kuweka mambo ziwe rahisi. Vile zinafanyika pale ndani, maana yake si kila mtu ako na nafasi ya kupata ile ujumbe ambao inafanyika pale.
Elsewhere, a family in Magarini, Kilifi County is seeking legal justice for their 11-year-old daughter who was allegedly defiled a year ago by a man who is well known in the community. Despite reporting to the authorities, no action has been taken against the suspect, who is said to be the chief's nephew.
Tangu tarehe 5 mwaka jana Disemba, sijiona mwongozo wowote paka hivi. Sijui kama serikali inafanya nini.
Lakini naomba serikali kama inaweza kunisaidia huu jamaa awe atashikwa.
Huyu kijana hajawahi kushikwa kwa sababu assistant chief ni babake, ni kama ni babake mkubwa.
Finally, leaders from Igembe North in Meru County, led by former Igembe North Member of Parliament Mauka Maore, have joined the residents of Igembe in agitating for an end to the senseless killings carried out by bandits in the region. 2 national police reservists and 1 herder were killed in the latest incident.
Tunataka hiyo mahali wanatokea kuwe na patrol. Kuwe na nini? Hii patrol najua haiwezi kufanyika ovyo. Tunataka serikali ipangwe vizuri, maneno ya operation kufunga hii mahali wanapitia.
Kwa hivyo kile tunawaomba kwa heshima, mtushike mkono, mtupe taarifa na tutatembea pamoja na nyinyi.
For Sunday Express, I'm Christine Matunda.
And now to a special feature this evening. The Global Burden of Disease study estimates that 5 million of deaths recorded annually are caused by a particulate matter, an air pollutant popularly known as a PM2.5. These particles are released in the atmosphere by various sources such as dust, forest fires and volcanoes, as well as through human activities such as fuel burning. And as Opichachim Tai found out during a visit at Kamulu area in Nairobi County, the death of a man due to alleged accumulation of these pollutants in his system point to a lethal risk lurking in the atmosphere.
Some 50 kilometers northeast of Nairobi lies Kamulu, one of the country's fast-growing suburbs. From a distance, all seems okay until you veer off the main road and take a turn towards Kamulu's Polytechnic Road. Here, visibility is hampered by dust storms due to the poor state of the road, worsened by numerous trucks ferrying construction materials crisscrossing the area. The amount of dust here makes the use of face masks a necessity in breathing. A few meters off the road, one of the residents who requested anonymity for fear of victimization ushers us to her homestead. As we go through her gate, it's dust particles everywhere that you can hardly notice the beauty of the home. This situation has chased away potential tenants. But even more painful is the death of her husband a few months ago, with the medical report citing dust particles as a major cause.
Maana wakati tulienda hospitali aliambiwa kifua imejifunga, na it was true kwa sababu kifua yenyewe ndio ilileta shida. Akaanza kusikia anashindwa na kufumua, na alikuwa amepata chanjo ya C19. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kusema ni C19.
Whereas moving out is not an option for her, getting a solution for this problem has not been easy either.
Na tukiongea na hawa watu wa maroli wanatusi sisi. Hata watu wa pikipiki unaona vile wanapita, hawataki kuona nyinyi, wanaogopa. Ingawa tukisaidika, si hata pia hawa wanasaidika.
Na huko kwa neema walituambia ati kuna wakati tutakuwa tukikufa mmoja na ugonjwa itakuwa moja.
Her neighbor, Catherine Njuguna, attributes her respiratory ailments to the air pollution the dusty road has subjected them to over the years.
Hata ugonjwa haisangi. Macho ndio hiyo. Mimi nasidaga kwa macho, hata kuona sionangi bali. Unaona? Nasidaga huko Kikuyu kwa macho. Ni pesa tu kutoa, hakuna mtu ananisaidia.
Kwetu ukiingia ni kama ma chemist. Homa haishi. Sasa tunashidaga tu na madawa. Mtoto kukohoa, sasa unashindwa utamshidisha tu kwa madawa. Kesho yake anaanza huko tonsils, amefugana.
Paka unatamani tu kuhama. Sisi tunatafuta hata mtu wa kuuzia nyumba tuhame tutoke huku juu. Sasa unaishi huku, saa yote uko na madawa. Unajua zi mzuri sana unakaa na hata tuko Nairobi. Surely. Hii ni Nairobi gani? Na dust imejaa. Nilikuja huku sikuwa na shida ya kifua. sikuwa na shida ya macho, sikuwa na shida ya araje. Sasa hivi nashidaga hospitali na madawa.
Gideon, an air quality expert from Airco, whom we met at Mama Lucy Hospital, says air pollution is a major concern.
One of the reasons why these monitors were thought of to be brought to the city is the health of Nairobians is deteriorating. So air quality keeps getting bad, and we don't know how much, we didn't know before how bad it was.
Air quality monitors installed by the county government reveal high levels of the particulate matter air pollutant in some areas.
We have to measure PM2.5 so that we can know before people report to hospital with illnesses that a certain area has an issue, an air quality issue, so that when doctors want to respond to their problems, they understand that these problems are coming from the environment rather than from other things that they would have already thought of.
But how harmful is particulate matter if exposed to over a period of time?
Taken in through your nostrils, these tiny particles can make their way to your respiratory system, including your lungs, and also congest your, cause health problems. For instance, the increasing cases of asthma and other illnesses that you can attest in the citizens of Nairobi can be linked directly to what the quality of air they are taking in. And for those whose monitors, for instance, if you are living close to Kamulu or in Kamulu and your monitor is always between the colors red and brown, you are living in an unhealthy place if it continuously reports the same colors throughout the time, and you should be worried that any respiratory related problems might be coming from the quality of air you're breathing within the area you're living in.
These are the kind of air quality monitors that would be sent to Polytechnic Road that will facilitate the collection of real-time data on PM2.5 for the necessary authority to act on it. As for now, the feasible solution to this pollution will be to jumpstart the tarmacking of this road.
Tumegojea for very long. Tumeenda mpaka kwa neema. Hatukusaidika vizuri because tulikuwa tunafikiri tukienda kwa neema watatusaidia. Wakati tulienda kwa neema tuliambiwa hii barabara sijui ile pesa ilikuwa itengenezwe, sijui ile pelekwa barabara nyingine. Sasa hatuelewi hapo ni nini kiliendelea, lakini kwa nini wasitutengenezee? A task that lies squarely within the Kenya Urban Roads Authority.
We are hoping to get money so that we can actually extend and put some measures that can enable us ensure that they don't overload, because if they overload again, they destroy the road. At the moment, we have not received any funding for the additional for phase 2, but we are still pursuing to see whether we can get resources.
Kamulu residents can only hope that this promise will not turn into another when funds become a viable tale. Slow, but it ultimately kills. Urgent mitigation measures need to be put in place to avert such disastrous occurrence. Just like this family, they had to part away with a loved one as a result of inhalation of a lot of particulate matter. Opicha Chemtai reporting for Channel 1 News from Kamulu, Nairobi County.
Pata the master flare kwenye star 570 hash option ya 4 na ushindi wako tunautangaza the 6th of October. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Very good evening and welcome to Channel 1 Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu. Let's begin with soccer, where the Kenya Under-20 soccer team Rising Stars began their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations CECAFA qualifiers on a winning note after beating host Tanzania 2-1 at the KMC Stadium in Dar es Salaam.
The Salim Babu Chargers took an early lead in the 23rd minute through Kevin Wanganya. Andres Odhiambo extended Kenya's lead in the 65th minute, while Shumari Mukinyangi pulled one back for the hosts 11 minutes later. Kenya's second fixture is scheduled for Thursday, where they will take on Rwanda before facing Djibouti on Sunday, then wrap up their group stage matches with a crucial encounter against Sudan on October 15. Kenya is drawn in Group A alongside Tanzania, Sudan, Rwanda and Djibouti. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And Vincent Langat and Sheila Chelangat are the winners of the 10-kilometer Betika Kericho cross-country. Now Langat crossed the finish line in 30 minutes and 4 seconds to win the men's race, while 27-year-old Chelangat clocked 33 minutes and 18 seconds to win the women's race. The winners walked away with 150,000 shillings for their performance. Now in the masters category, Francis Bowen completed the 4-kilometer race in 12 minutes 55 seconds, while in the women's category, Joyce Kirui crossed the finish line in 8 minutes. The senior runners received 30,000 shillings for their feat. The Kericho cross country attracted over 800 amateur and professional athletes from across the country. And Multimedia University men's hockey team was held to a 1-1 draw by JKUAT in Kenya Hockey League match played today at the Impala grounds here in Nairobi. Now Multimedia University took the lead in the first half through Samson Jomo's 29th minute goal. In the second half, JKUAT came back stronger before equalizing in the 59th minute through James Kenon. In the ladies category, Grace Mutindi's Breast handed Multimedia women a 2-0 win over JKUAT women. And finally, to swimming, where Super Marlin Swim Club emerged the overall winners of Kiambu County Level 2 Swimming Gala held at Reg School in Runda. The gala attracted 29 teams from different counties, among them Nairobi, Mombasa and Machakos.
Super Marlin Swim Club won the overall men's title with a total of 31 medals, 13 gold, 9 silver and 9 bronze medals. Crawford International School finished second with 27 medals, 10 gold, 9 silver and 8 bronze medals, while Aqua Shark Fin settled for the third position with 9 gold medals.
I want to congratulate all the coaches who took their time to prepare the swimmers. I believe that most of the swimmers who had not got time for the upcoming nationals in Mombasa, they are ready from 18th to 20th. They'll be in Mombasa for the nationals. That is the short course championship.
Looking forward to going to nationals level 3 and maybe even one day the Olympics. And I'd like to thank KCAA for organizing this wonderful gala and giving many people the chance to shine.
Today's event was good, but I didn't reach my target, but next time I hope so. My future plans are I want to represent Kenya in the Olympics in some time coming.
In the women's category, Porterhouse School won the title, relegating Aga Khan Academy Nairobi and Super Marlin Swim Club to second and third positions, respectively. In some of the individual events, Kigara Nduta from Porterhouse won the 50 meters breaststroke after clocking 48.24 seconds, while Wanjiro Jackson from Genesis Sports won the 100 meters freestyle in a time of 1 minute, 03.41 seconds. Karaoke from Juja St. Peter's School won the 50 meters breaststroke after clocking 1 minute, 00.24 seconds. The gala attracted 29 teams from different counties, among them Nairobi, Mombasa and Machakos.
Well, that's it from me, but stay with us because Abdiaziz Hashim is coming up next with the Sunday Express interview. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Bernard Okumu.
Thank you for staying with us. Now to our interview portion. As I told you earlier, the 10th of October 2024 is Mazingira Day here in the country, but the world will be marking World Sight Day. And of course, Kenya will join the rest of the world in marking that feat, as well as the theme this year will be Love Your Eyes and Children. We are here with an optometrist. He will tell us why the focus will be on children as opposed to the rest of the populace. Now, he is from the Optometrist Association of Kenya's plans, and of course he is the president of that association. Victor Opia, thank you for joining us this evening.
Pleasure, Hashim.
Maybe we start on that premise. Why is the focus on young ones alone this year?
Basically, the focus is on young ones because we thought they are the foundation of the society. And as I was watching, you were taking us through the news, I've seen there is also some point whereby we talk about stigma. Yes. So there is stigma when it comes to the conventional way on how we correct some of the problems that they have using the glasses. There is also a problem that most of the time these kids, you find they don't speak out if they have the eye problems. So that's why we are trying to make noise that we need to do capacity building to a few, like the mothers, the teachers, to support these kids with ocular problems. Yeah, you understand? Then the other thing is we are, as a society nowadays, you find the kids are doing a lot of e-learning. We don't eat healthy, so we are predisposing these kids to some of the things that are very harmful to human eye. The electronics, the diets. You take an example, most of the time nowadays we are doing e-learning. We are introducing them to e-learning at a very early age. We are eating junk food, which is a predisposing factor to some of the diseases at a late stage. Example, hypertension, diabetes, and etc. So we thought as a community that this is a time that we can make noise, since all the agencies are ready to listen to us. And also, the kids also, when they grow up, there is how they'll influence the economy positively, you see. Yeah.
And of course, give us some statistics if you have your association that has interacted with, but tell us what are these conditions they are likely to suffer from most?
According to our observation and a lot of research that have been done, most kids have been going through a lot of eye problems, ranging from refractive errors. Refractive errors are examples of them are nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. I see you are wearing on glasses, so yes. I think you have a bit of clue. Then also we have some eye problems like that are caused by infection, allergies, whereby you spot a kid constantly rubbing the eyes. They want to sit next to the board. There are also the likes of the lazy eye, the squints, whereby there is a misalignment on the eyes. There are a series of diseases that affect these kids, and they go unnoticed because this kid at an early stage cannot compare him or herself with another kid. So they're normally not interested. So they just feel that whatever they are seeing is the normal. Yeah, you see.
Now, what are some of the measures that have been put in place to address these kinds of issues that you are seeing within the country?
Within our Kenyan per se, what we have done is number one is what we are trying to do. We are trying to create awareness, and you remember World Sight Day coming the week we are starting is an arena for advocacy, so that government agencies, the policymakers, can take kids' vision issues serious. Number two, we are trying to do capacity building, and capacity building comes in terms of, at least, you see, we have the community health promoters. We are trying to educate them to understand some of the behavioral and how to support kids with eye problems. Also, as a society, we are having conversation with different players in eye care that can support some of our screening programs whereby we go to a school X, do screening to these kids, and give a pair of glasses at no cost. And if we find cases that are so complicated, we have to refer to specialists. You know, as a profession, we are not alone. We are different cadres within eye care. So all that incorporated, and all system workings, and I appreciate that what is happening with our current social health insurance. You have seen there is a cap they have put for people less than 18 years, under 18 years. So it means that even the government has seen that there is essence to invest on the kids' vision. Yeah.
Now, how do you bridge this gap there? This household that doesn't have SHA or doesn't have a private insurance to cover their optical needs. So to ensure that those people are not left behind, because you see people who come from poverty or from the slums, they have to balance between buying food and getting their children to receive this medical care. So how is that vital, and how are you breaching that gap?
So as a society, that's a very good question, Hashim, because you know, even if you look at how our distribution is in terms of professionals, you will find most of us are within Nairobi. So the peri-urban areas, like for say somebody in Turkana, somebody in Mathare, who cannot afford the conventional way of correcting some of these problems, they're having difficulties. That is why we are saying we are trying to create access. And how can we create access? We create access by taking these services next to them, and either offer these services at a free cost or at a subsidized cost. And as an association, we are trying to promote this by elevating the status of optometries in this country by at least supporting them to open access points in those peri-urban areas, you see. By doing that, we will make sure that we carry along these kids, a kid that is in Turkana, and make sure that this kid can be in school so that we don't lose that school time, you see. And also we have realized that some of these eye problems can even affect a kid's performance. So whatever you are saying, whatever the question you are asking is very, very relevant, and we have done many measures towards making sure that we create access. Number one, you create access, and you have to make sure that the services are available. You know, there is a difference of creating access and it is not available. Yeah.
And of course, given that we are going to celebrate that day on Thursday, the 10th of October 2024, what are some of the challenges maybe you have witnessed as an optometrist in this particular sector, and how can it be addressed?
Some of the challenges that we have witnessed as optometrists in Kenya, number one, we are struggling with the human resource in eye care. You take an example right now, we have less than 620 optometrists. We have less than 200 ophthalmologists who are specialists, those who offer surgeries at tertiary, they are at tertiary level. So deficiency in human resources. And the other thing that also we are fighting through, another problem that we are going through is the training of our curriculum is not properly harmonized, so that there is a proper channel that somebody from a diploma level can upgrade, you see. Then if you go to these hospitals, like you look at what is happening with SHA, they are saying that the services of an optometrist should begin from level 2 to level 3. But if you go to these hospitals, will you see an equipment? We lack equipments and consumables, you see. We have a clue of what we want to do, but implementation is not there. Yeah. And again, the other thing that now is coming up, and this follows up the question that you asked, that how can we make sure that these tools are accessible to these guys? Take an example of what is happening with SHA. They are saying that a pair of glasses is 935. And I'm wondering, even if we are talking of ways of how we can reduce, we can make these tools accessible, but the policy system is not favoring an optometrist, you see. Yeah, but all around, what I'm appreciating is, as a nation, our government is ready for this conversation, and they are taking those small baby steps. That is number one thing that we have to appreciate. Yeah.
Maybe what are those gaps, especially in policies, maybe your association or other optometrists in the country have forwarded to the government that will address some of the gaps you're witnessing right now?
Some of the gaps that need to be filled. Number one, optometry as a profession. You have to know that optometry is an independent cadre, that it is educated and has to be regulated. So one of the things that we are facing, one of the problems that we are facing is there was lack of regulation save it to, we have an umbrella regulation with the Kenya Health Profession Oversight Authority currently. Then we had, for you to offer your services to, for say, a county hospital, for say in Kiambu or in Turkana, you also have to have a scope of practice and a career guideline. I'm glad that as a society, these are things that we have pushed, and we are just waiting for an example of license that is we have done. We have licenses, scope of practice. We have for eye health, and our career guideline is yet to be approved by Public Service Commission. It is undergoing some last streaming. It was approved, but we are still waiting for a written approval letter. So you see, once you have all these in place, we can create access. We can say that when you go to level 2 in Makueni, you'll meet an optometrist. Yeah. So, but all this, I'm glad that there are things that are on the tail end, so that a mama mboga in Turkana can have a eye care next to her. Yeah.
And of course, given that you've clearly stated that there is a shortfall when it comes to human resources, so as an association and other optometrists in the country, what have you done to ensure, especially in the curriculums we have in the country, you do know about the KBC, the institutions of higher learning, what have you forwarded to those institutions to make this area attractive so that many people can study under optometry and at the end of the day they go into the job market?
Yeah, you see what was happening initially, people never understood the scope of an optometrist. So number one key thing that we had to do is do a lot of advocacy. And this advocacy, we are doing it in many ways. The media, we are using the stakeholders to preach the gospel, to understand the scope of an optometrist. Then I can marry that with the training institutions. You find we only have, currently in the country, we have 3 institutions training optometry. But if you look at the current trend, the past 2 to 3 years, what has been happening, the uptake has increased. So that means that we are trying to address the gap on training, on human resources through training. We are also trying to reach out to the likes of community health promoters, to equip them with basic knowledge on some of these eye conditions. And as a society, the basic thing is we are trying to make sure that these professionals undergo proper training, so that when you meet somebody in Mandera as an optometrist, is somebody who is qualified and ready to serve you. So in terms of training, we have done a lot. In terms of advocacy, we have done a lot as a society. And also in terms of creating public awareness, so that this kid that is leaving Form 4 can know that this is optometry and this is what an optometry does. Yes.
And of course, to the young ones who are watching you right now, they're in their 4th years, they're concluding and they're studying optometry. Will they get jobs at the end of the day in the sector?
Yeah, at the end of the day, there is always hope. What we are trying to do is to make sure that we get it right. And getting it right is going through the right channels and putting policies that are strong. So my promise to them is optometry is a cadre that is still young in the country. Opportunities are there. The only thing that we request from them normally is, as much as they enter into the field, they have to make sure that they understand the art and the science of what they are doing, and they make sure that they're ethically and professionally right. So that, when you come to me and you get a good services from me, it will be easy to preach the gospel, even to a minister somewhere. So you see, by that we'll be increasing the numbers in our pool. So the hope is there.
And of course, we have seen so many doctors, fellow colleagues that are in the profession of, when it comes to the health sector, who have opted to work in other countries as opposed to here in Kenya. So has that been similar to your sector, and what have you done to ensure that these people remain in the country? At the end of the day, we don't suffer from brain drain.
Yeah, that is a challenge that has been affecting eye health in general, and more so at the specialist level, those who are at tertiary level. You find they migrate to other countries for reasons well known to them, maybe greener pastures, most of us normally say. But optometry is a new cadre still, even in Africa. So labor migration is still minimal. The only thing that we try to do is make sure that, you see, take an example of the career guideline. When we are working on our career guideline, we make sure that the entry level are lucrative, so that this person, we can contain him or her within the country. Yeah, but we have a few optometrists who are expatriates in other countries. I know a bit of them, but we have tried to make sure that we contain them in our country, so that they serve our people. You see, the number is very low, and the population that we are serving is over 56 million people. So we have to make sure that we contain them, no matter what.
And in just 30 seconds, what can we look forward to, given the day is on the 10th of October?
What we look forward to on 10th of October is, as a society, we'll be doing a screening, and we'll do eye screening at Mukuru Promotion Center, which is running 6 schools with a population of 7,500 students. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to use that as a study area, so that we can come with data to inform the government on the burden that is there on eye health issues. And on the same note, we're also trying to make sure that we at least do capacity building to the teachers, so that when you take your kid to Mukuru Promotion Center after a year, a teacher basically will have some clue on how to spot a kid with an eye problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Victor Pio, the president of the Optometrist Association of Kenya. Thank you for making time for us this evening. And there you have it. We're looking forward to the 10th of October 2024. Aside from being Mazingira Day here in the country, it will be World Sight Day, and Kenya will join the rest of the world in marking that particular day. That concludes our bulletin this evening on Sunday Express. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom of the screen is Baron Abuli. You can always find more on our webpage at www.kbc.co.ke. Enjoy the rest of your evening.